Imagine preaching to a megachurch-sized congregation, but one made up of people whose everyday experience was that of discrimination because of the color of their skin, their gender, their sexual orientation, their employment status, their immigration status, or their HIV status. Imagine this, and you have a picture of a 21st century version of the target audience for whom Jesus's words were intended in this morning's text. Jesus is about 2/3 way through what has come to be known as his Sermon on the Mount, when he tells them to quit focusing on the future. Quit worrying about their circumstances, but instead try to live in the moment. He was telling his crowd, for whom worry was a way of life, that instead of focusing on the disaster that seemed to be lurking around the corner, they would be better off appreciating the blessings of today. He was telling them that life was too short to spend it overwhelmed with anxiety. And the message is the same for you and me. There are plenty of scary things in this world. The health diagnosis that feels like a punch in the gut. Bill collectors that won't go away. Legislation that infringes on your human rights. There are plenty of scary things in our future, some very real and some imagined. But in this morning's reading, Jesus is encouraging his audience to transform their fear of the future into hope for the future. But how do we get there? How do we get from our current fears to a place of hope? How do we move past our exasperation, frustration, and anger of the way things are to an attitude of hope for the way things should be? It seems too inaccessible, and yet it's the place where God calls us, a place of hope, both for us and for the world. Well, the best way I can think of to access hope is through gratitude. John Pavlovitz, in his most recent book, has said, if hope is the blockbuster movie, then gratitude is the prequel. Hope exists somewhere in the future, a soon-to-be, a yet-to-come, which means it's always just a little out of reach, just beyond the horizon. Gratitude, however, we can hold in this moment. It is present-focused, a sense of what is good right now. Gratitude, it seems, is always the catalyst for a hopeful future. It's the change agent which transforms our attitudes from self-centeredness into ones which are outwardly focused. We are grateful for our own life, and so we battle for the lives of others. We are grateful for our freedom, and so we fight for the freedom of other people. We are grateful for our health, and so we give to others in ways that they may experience quality of life. We are grateful for a faith community that supports us, and so we seek to widen that community to embrace others. Change happens, and it almost always happens because of gratitude. And that's what the good news of Jesus Christ is about. It's about change. It's about the transformation of a broken world into the realm of God. And it's about the transformation of lives that are paralyzed with fear and worry into lives brimming over with gratitude and hope. Pavlovitz writes, each moment here is a singular gift, so do your best not to waste it. Ride every zip line, pursue every dream, accept every dance party invitation, savor every second. You'll never regret such things. There is nothing more pressing or urgent or important than being present for your life currently in progress. This will make you more available to people who are suffering, not less. So while the work of resisting injustice, of protecting diversity, of demanding equality has never been more necessary or urgent, while we spend ourselves on behalf of these endeavors, we need to make sure that we don't miss out on life happening right in front of us. In days like this, he writes, living well isn't just the best revenge, it's also the greatest resistance. Always remember that Jesus' message was one of resistance. Resistance against the status quo. Resistance against a religion that proclaimed anything other than God's boundless grace for the world. Resistance against a government that used fear as a tool for crushing the human spirit. Resistance against laws and traditions that favored the rich elite over the impoverished masses. And we resist these things every time we remember that we are more than our fears and anxieties. We resist when we embrace life with a sense of awe and appreciation and connectedness to the world. We resist when we are able to shift our focus from our own challenges and problems to the lives of other people and their needs. Gratitude helps us be present for others. Over the last several days, a lot of focus has been placed on gratitude. We have gathered with family and thanked God for our loved ones, even those who annoy the heck out of us. We've eaten more than we should have and been thankful for our good fortune. In these recent moments of gratitude, we have felt our hearts open up and relax. But in no time at all, we became distracted with Black Friday and Super Saturday deals that we were convinced we couldn't live without. We wish we didn't have to go back to work or school. And Christmas chaos looms in the not-so-distant future. These things and more cause our relaxed and grateful hearts to snap shut out of a sense of stress and anxiety. But it doesn't have to be that way. Instead, we can do our best to extend this brief season of gratitude into a way of life. Be grateful for today, for the present moment, for the people who picked you up when you were down, and for the people who criticized you and pushed you forward. For the sunrise, if you wake up early enough to enjoy it, and for the sunset if you don't. For music and good musicians, and for books and good authors. For a good cup of coffee, and for an ice-cold beer. For a quiet, leisurely stroll, and for the kindness of a stranger. For the good food that nourishes our bodies, and for the laughter that nourishes our souls. For running water, for drinking water, for hot showers. We take so much for granted, so much for which to be grateful. We forget how much better the places of gratitude are than the places of fear and worry where we often find ourselves. Places of gratitude invite our hearts to be open and our focus to be outward, whereas places of worry compel us to pull inward and move into survival mode. Gratitude isn't the easiest thing to incorporate into our lives. It's much easier to be swept into the fear-based news headlines. Our survival instinct urges us to plan for tomorrow, which isn't such a bad idea unless it keeps us from experiencing the beauty of today. Jesus encouraged the crowds to live in the present. May we also embrace the present moment. May we be grateful for our blessings. May we share those blessings with others. And may we endeavor to make these things into a way of life. Amen.